Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Good and Bad of the Week podcast / audio / YouTube video / whatever you want to call it, but that's the British Fist. I am Mr. Parkin, as you can hear from my very Mr. Parkin-like voice. Cody Rhodes Mark, #1 indeed, and sitting next to me, he is the Triple H Mark and Kane Mark #1. It's none other than NJ.
What's up?
Imagine if Triple H and Cody Rhodes had a match. Who do you think would win? Triple H would win every time, wouldn't he?
You'd have to cheat to win, yeah.
He'd have to cheat to win. Cody Rhodes would use his mask, but bitch.
He would.
Subscribe up above, of course. Like this video and comment your thoughts down below, of course.
And make sure you contact us in the link in the box below, of course.
Another botch by me, but there we go. So Good and Bad of the Week, where we analyse, as you all know, we analyse Raw, SmackDown, TNA, all the WWE and TNA shows. Let's just get on to Raw, shall we? So we open up Raw this week with none other than Triple H. He opens up the show when he's COO. He also opens up a show when he's had the mid-card match at the pay-per-view, but probably had one of the more impactful things of the night happening. So
he did, and basically he's angry at Kevin Nash all the way, furious at him.
Yeah, I mean the whole segment is basically Triple H saying how he wants Nash and how Nash tried to break his neck. And that leads up to John Laurinaitis coming out, and that immediately made the segment suck, didn't it?
Oh dear. He comes out, and before he gets in the ring, Triple H is saying, "Shut up!"
Yeah, so at least he got little mic time. At least he got little mic time, which is one of the positive things there. Whenever guys like him and Karen Jarrett get little mic time, I'm happy. And we have this little segment between them two where Triple H says he'll do anything to get to Kevin Nash. It's really intensifying what we feel is probably going to happen at Survivor Series, which is a match between the two. And then Triple H walks out. And then what happens?
Laurinaitis saying, keep calm, don't do anything. And then from behind, while Triple H is distracted, Kevin Nash has got a sledgehammer, Triple H's little friend, and he whacks down Triple H.
Yeah, so, you know, effective segment. I thought that opener was very good. It explained a lot of things. There was hype for the feud. We kind of got an idea of what was going to happen in the future. But then we got the stuff after the commercial break, and the segment seemed to go on way too long after that. Yeah,
it did go on a bit long. It was effective, I'll give it that. It was an effective opener for Raw, but they could have done this a lot shorter, and it could have still had the same effect. Yeah, they should just show less replays and stuff. And then we had Nash attacking Triple H backstage. So if we didn't have enough from the attack on the ring, we had another one backstage. It was like, was this really needed? I didn't really think it was. I thought the opener was an effective opener. I don't think it was really needed. But this second part, I think this is the part that took out Triple H for what reports said for 6 weeks.
Indeed. I remember a time when Triple H got taken out with Sheamus with a lead pipe, and they didn't need to do a backstage attack then. But
no, they did.
Whatever. I guess Nash is a lot older and needs to do more to injure Triple H. I don't know.
He does. That is true.
It just went on. It just went on too long with all the replays and stuff, didn't it?
Too much replays. It had break, replay, another replay, and I just thought, you've shown us before. You've got it the point's across, Triple H is out, Kevin Nash is looking strong. I think they could have done it a lot shorter. So
the first quarter of the show is devoted to a Triple H and Kevin Nash feud. Yay! No Survivor Series. Then we had a match. Good, we had a match after a long opener. Orton and Sheamus versus Rhodes and Christian. Combining two feuds there in a match which you've seen all too many times before.
Combined, so that had been 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But the match itself, with the two feuds happening, it makes sense. The tag match lasted 12 minutes. I thought it was a good tag team match. Sheamus pinned Rhodes. You know me, a Rhodes mark. I don't like Cody Rhodes getting pinned in this situation, but I guess it was okay.
The horrible thing is Cody Rhodes is getting pinned again. So I think last time it was Randy Orton RKO'ing him.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking they're doing it again. They're making Sheamus look strong here, which is good because he's the next big face in SmackDown. But still, it was a good match. I'll give it that, but just not the best ending.
When he's getting the win over, when he's getting the pin instead of Randy Orton, you know they're going to be taking him far. I just don't understand why you can never have the heels win this tag match. Why do heels never win these? They never seem to, do they? Unless there's like a blatant cheating maneuver or something. Why can't they just win one of these clean?
That's true. I was watching this match. We're thinking logically a heel side would have been more effective, and so more look forward to for weeks to come. But sadly, it didn't happen.
And Cody Rhodes looked brilliant in this match. You can tell that he's a talented guy. He holds that IC Championship with so much pride, doesn't he, NJ?
1, 2, 3, yes.
Oh, shut up. And then we get to a Santino versus Ziggler squash match. Santino citing FTW. As soon as we saw this, we knew Ziggler Santino would be jobbing after Santino would be jobbing after Ziggler. Another botch there. It's been a week of the botch for me. I'm sorry, guys. Ziggler gets the win after a distraction, which was beaten clean.
It was a few seconds away from the United States champion losing to an ex-Intercontinental champion if it weren't for swagger.
Yeah, I just don't see why you can't have Ziggler win this clean, especially against Santino, who's just so much lower on the card than him. You know, and after the match, we have the Ziggler and Swagger beating up on on him, and then Mason Ryan comes out.
That's what we need to see, because the stupid Zack Ryder's finished now. Mason Ryan is the one who's stepping up, hopefully, between now and Survivor Series or the pay-per-view after. Keep building him up, and he'll become a real potential opponent for Ziggler.
And this was a good segment to introduce Mason Ryan into this feud with Dolph Ziggler, even though we've seen it kind of before. I like Mason Ryan, but I'd still prefer to see a Ryan in the US title picture. Just saying, he's a lot better in the ring.
Well, if you want to see him, watch Superstars, Dan.
I probably will. maybe I might even do a review of it on my channel. Who knows? After this, we had a Del Rio victory speech because we all know he won at Vengeance against John Cena in that Last Man Standing match. He basically says he's done with Cena and he's now going to move on to new challenges. And then who comes out?
CM Punk.
And do you know what? When he came out, I was thinking to myself, you know, I like CM Punk in the title picture. I mean, it's great that they're going to have him in a feud with Del Rio, but what has he done to earn a title shot? I'm just saying, like, he's got pinned by Del Rio at Hell in a Cell and at SummerSlam, pinned by Austin Truth at Vengeance. He's had a couple of wins against him on free TV when he wasn't the champion.
Well, my point about this is Vengeance, he lost. I thought he would have continued with Awesome Truth. And in the ring, CM Punk did bring up the points that he's beat Del Rio on these Raws and Raws, but still Dan's point overrides CM Punk's points.
And he said he gets a rematch, but you got it at Hell in a Cell in that triple threat match. That's, you know, whatever. I mean, putting all that aside, I'm glad to see Punk in the title picture again.
Well, as much as I'm glad to see CM Punk back in the title picture, who had to put him in it?
Oh, you know that.
John Laurinaitis.
Yep. John Laurinaitis comes out and says that Survivor Series, we're going to have a match between Alberto Del Rio and CM Punk. He announces the match. Then CM Punk says he doesn't respect him, and then he says he'll think about it. And it's like, you've just done all that to just say you'll think about it. That is so underwhelming for a segment. John Laurinaitis sucks on the mic. CM Punk deservedly buried him. And I'm just thinking, you know, I'm going along your lines here. Shouldn't there be any more contenders?
There should have been. It would have been great for CM Punk. CM Punk versus any of the heels on Raw. Yeah. But the thing I'd have liked to see is I'm waiting for the one moment when Triple H or CM Punk does the hit, their finisher on Laurinaitis.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see that soon because god damn, he sucks. It just seemed to be more about Punk and Laurinaitis than Del Rio. He's the fucking champion, you know, but I guess Del Rio got his decent amount of mic time. It hyped the feud up. It was effective in that sense. Why does Laurinaitis have to come and ruin it every week?
I know, even with the Rodriguez get involved, and that still didn't save it. All I can say is that hopefully next week we'll have a match actually announced.
Yeah, indeed. Natalia versus Alicia Fox. Nah. Do we really give a shit about this?
Nah, as the Tea Time segment guy said, it was a boring match. Horrible for Natalia, that's it.
But they told us a bit about their holiday, didn't they? That was quite interesting. I was intrigued as to what they were going to be doing what they did in their holiday.
Yeah, it was good to hear them back.
Yeah, definitely. And the other guy didn't get married. My God, I didn't think he'd be jilting his wife. Enough with the banter, right? Enough with the banter. We'll save that for the British Tea Time segments, which isn't us, by the way.
No, it's not.
Next, we had John Morrison versus Wade Barrett. And I was thinking to myself, Wade Barrett might squash John Morrison. But it lasted 9 minutes, so it was a good match, I thought. And
all I can say is, finally, after a losing streak, John Morrison wins. Ha!
Hold on a minute. Are you
I'm joking. He can't win.
Are you high?
He don't win.
Are you high, mate? Wade Barrett gets the win. It's a botched finish, but still a decent match. And it seems like WWE are trying to build up Wade Barrett somewhat. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to be doing with him in the future. I think he'll be part of a Survivor Series match. Stick him in a rivalry with Daniel Bryan. I'll keep saying this for a while. Stick him in a rivalry with Daniel Bryan, please, and you'll have another interesting feud on SmackDown. Just saying.
All I'm going to say now is, as well as that, Wade's getting all these wins, so hopefully, just like on Raw, they can book him up to be a possible main eventer again.
God, and then we have WWE's version of the TV title segment from TNA. Michael Cole says he issues a challenge to JR for next week in a match, and the winner of the match will be in the commentary table. And I'm just like, do they really need to hype up another feud between commentators? It's stupid. It didn't work the first time, the second time, or the third time, or the 10th time, or the 1000th time. It just sucks. I don't want to see this.
What I'm going to say now is, again, put Mark on SmackDown, so have him lose next week. Have Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler on Raw. And I'm thinking it'll work out smoothly that way. But next Raw will give us the answer.
I'll say the one positive from this is we got a match hype for next week, but I don't want to see it. So there we go. Then we get to our main event, which was announced earlier on in the night that it would be Ryder and Cena versus Awesome Truth. But Awesome Truth, because they're awesome, right? Because they're awesome, they took out the guy we hate most. Which is why, in our eyes, Awesome Truth are the best tag team in the WWE at the moment.
Oh, yeah!
Indeed. You suck.
Down he went down. It came to be a handicap match between Awesome Truth and that jackass son of a, John Cena.
Yeah, and the segment began with that. And then we had Awesome Truth coming down, talking about their revolution and how they're going to be dominant in the WWE. The match itself went about 5 minutes. It wasn't the best match. It was a typical heel-on-face handicap match, and it ended in a DQ when Awesome Truth just carried on beating on Cena.
Lovely moment.
Correct way to end the match, really, isn't it? Keep him looking dominant and not to bury Cena too much. Not that you can bury John Cena nowadays. That's impossible in WWE's book.
Yes, it is.
What do you think of this segment, then?
Effective. Awesome Truth looked strong over someone as high as John Cena. So I think that was a good way to round up that part of Raw.
Yeah, and then Laurinaitis comes out, stops the attack, and tells Awesome Truth to get out. Is he heel? Is he face? Who knows? But then we get the announcement. Do you know what, NJ? I'm leaving this to you. You're the great one of the British Fist. You make this announcement. What's the main event of some Survivor Series going to be?
Survivor Series is Awesome Truth, John Cena, and his chosen partner,
Yeah, so that is it. The main event for Survivor Series has been announced on the first Raw after the pay-per-view, which is good in my opinion. We can have opinions on Rock and Cena teaming up. We're not going to talk too much about that here. Maybe save that for another video at some point. But this should be a good main event. I'm glad they announced it now, and we're probably going to get Rock's response next week. So,
as much as we'll say this is good and effective and that, it's just that Laurinaitis is swaying from heel to face, and I'm just thinking this could have done a whole lot better if, let's say, Rock actually appeared on the show and just said that he wants to be involved or something like that. But again, Laurinaitis is both.
And it seems like they're moving on with storylines very quickly, aren't they? You've got Miz and Truth feuding with Triple H and Punk. Now Punk's in the title picture. Triple H is with Nash. Cena's now with these guys after the interference. So it seems like they're moving things on quite quickly now to Survivor Series. So there we go. Much else to say about this show?
That's it for Raw.
Right, well, let's get on to TNA then, which must be better than last week's crap show. So before we start this segment of Good and Bad of the Week with TNA Impact Wrestling, we just want to say, guys, tune into next week's TNA Impact Wrestling review because it is going to be interesting as hell. We're going to have a lot to say about that show.
Oh, yes, we are, Dan.
Tonight we came from, I think it was, I can't remember, was it Louisville, Kentucky? Or something like that. The crowd seemed much better than usual tonight, didn't they? They were a bit more hyped up in parts of the show where usually the Impact crowd would just be really quiet and touristy.
Very true, yes.
We opened up a video package from the main event of last week, which was James Storm winning the title. Let's not get into that, or else I might just go angry again. No. But we opened up with James Storm, which was the correct way to open the show, as he did win the title. That was the correct way to open the show. Give him some mic time.
And the thing is, he gets straight to the point, like all opening segments should be, to the point, and he calls out his friends, Fortune.
Yeah, definitely. He gives you get a little bit of insight into who James Storm is as a champion. You know, him and his Fortune members start, chatting on the mic and everything. Well, he gets most of the mic time. But then Samoa Joe comes out and says that while Rude is buried or whatever, and then Samoa Joe comes out and says he wants the shot at the title. And it's like, what has he done, as my phone goes off there, what has he done to deserve a shot at the title? Has he done anything to deserve a shot? Isn't he on a losing streak?
Yes, when Samoa Joe came out, I thought, okay, I wonder what he's going to have to say. It was kind of obvious, but the same thing is, he does not deserve to become a part of the main eventers.
No.
Because of his losing streak.
And then we get Sting coming out and announcing a number one contention match between Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode for the main event, and it's just like, wow. The problem with this segment was, Samoa Joe isn't a deserving number 1 contender. And the way they've done this now, to set up a title match between Rude and Storm on next week's free TV taping, is just another example of why TNA are really deserving a lot of criticism from people like us at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, I'm just going to have to bite my tongue because the way they booked this match, this main event, or this number 1 contender for next week, is just horrible, and there's a lot to say about this.
Yeah. Well, at least you managed to stay calm, unlike me, who just unleashes my anger like Batista used to.
Batista, yes.
Yeah, Batista. Let's not go into Batista right now. The opening segment, I guess, set up the main event, gave James Storm some mic time. It was alright, it's just the fact that Samoa Joe is getting a shot. It just,
And there'll be more about this when the match comes later tonight.
Yeah, okay then. We then have a backstage segment with Daniels talking about not quitting, why he's going to prove himself against RVD. It was a short, to-the-point segment, which TNA should incorporate a little bit more into their shows.
I did not quit, AJ. For flip's sake, the whiny man.
Then we have Christopher Daniels versus RVD, and what I thought was a good match, 5.5 minutes. We have AJ Styles on commentary, so it looks like they're going to be continuing with an AJ Styles Christopher Daniels feud at some point, even though you never know. TNA may just change their ideas at some point in the future, because you know what they're like. We've seen what they're like with the main event at the moment.
True, I'm saying the way this match was done, it was not the best match anyway, but for it to wrap up the way it did and have the continuous of AJ and Daniels, it was good, I thought.
Yeah, the way that Daniels used the toolbox, the match ended in a DQ, no one gets buried too much. You have a continuation of the feud between Daniels and AJ, so it was an effective segment in that sense. So let's leave it there, I guess, shall we?
We'll leave it there.
And I enjoyed the match, but that's just my opinion, I guess. Then we get Karen Jarrett coming out with her crew, which consists now of Madison Rayne, for some reason, Gail Kim and Tracy Brooks. It was good in this segment how Gail Kim got most of the mic time and Karen Jarrett had little mic time, which is always a good thing in my book.
And I'm thinking the fact that they gave their mic time to our new knockout was definitely good, because she had a lot to say about the reason she's here is not for the money, not for the fans, but for herself, and how she has a shot coming up against Velvet Sky.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett. Oh God, I'm getting a botch again. Jarrett announces that a turning point it will be Gail Kim versus Velvet Sky for the title. So we got a match announced, logical match. I imagine it's Karen Jarrett trying to put all the odds on to Velvet Sky. First match announced though, being the Knockouts title match. But you know, I'm glad it's announced.
I guess I'm a fan of number 1 contender, so having this, just because she's abusing her power, because she's got her own crew, like Dan said, she's having the power of making their own matches. I was hoping number 1 contender, but we got a match announced, so I'm not going to complain about that.
And Karen Jarrett having power makes no sense, as Stinger's just won control of the company. Why don't you just fire her? But whatever, it doesn't really matter. Gaping plot holes in TNA isn't really their forte. But we have Gail Kim versus Terra. 4-minute match. Gail Kim looked dominant. It did the job making her look strong going into the pay-per-view, I guess. I just would rather have been someone who was an actual jobber rather than Terra, who's an actual accomplished wrestler.
Yeah, it was a bit sad to watch because I'm a fan of Tara, and her to go against Gail Kim. It was an effective match. They both looked kind of strong, but Gail Kim's obviously going to pick up the win for her first match. Yeah,
Jeff Hardy in a backstage segment hypes up his match again. It was short, sweet, and good.
That's the way it has to be. That's the way it has to be. Jeff Hardy,
yeah. Then we had a segment which we cared so little about. Eric Young versus Robbie E in a TV title match. We just don't care about this match. You know, what has TNA done ever to make us care about this? Robbie E sucks in the ring. Eric Young is a loony. And it's all Jersey Shore related, and we just don't give a shit.
No, Eric Young's had all these stupid promos building up to nothing in the past. He comes in, has a match. The match was entertaining.
1 minute.
1 minute. He pinned Robert E. So how are we meant to believe that Robert E. is going to be a future great wrestler in the X division? So that was rubbish. So
who really gives a shit? And this whole thing is done to introduce another Jersey Shore member, because that was a great thing on your ratings, wasn't it? TNA bringing in the fucking another Jersey Shore guy in. Rob Terry attacks Eric Young post match. So they're going to be doing this for a while now, and I just don't care about these segments. Let's just move on. Just fucking hate these segments so much. They piss me off. When you could put X division guys in there, and you're putting this on there, it's fucking stupid. Any more to say about that?
Nope.
Good. We then have a backstage segment hyping up Daniels and AJ again. Next week, some sort of thing's going to happen between them two. And you have Bully Ray hyping up his match with Hardy. Again, I think this match makes a lot of sense. Bully Ray versus Hardy. He's associated with Immortal. They have a lot of history and stuff. And he's a great heel who can really get Hardy over with the crowd.
That's true. I've said enough about Daniels, so forget that. Bully Ray, I love him on mic. Having his quick promo against his say about Hardy say about their history. It was definitely hype up for their match.
It was good. Short and sweet again, wasn't it? That's what we need more of from TNA. Then we have an Eric Bischoff segment where he basically calls out his son and wants Garrett to apologise to him later on in the night. So then from this, we know they're going to have another segment later, and that was the main event. Why is this getting 2 segments on a show which is really crammed for time enough as it is? My God!
I'm going to agree with you there, because for this segment, a lot was said from Eric Bischoff. If I could swear throughout this video, I would, because he called his son all the names under the sun. The thing is, going past this, they hyped this up brilliantly. They could have just done everything in this one segment, because they had a lot going in this one segment, but sadly, they had to drag it on for later in the night.
I just wonder why this segment is even on the show. Why are they doing a Bischoff and his son feud? I mean,
The way I see it is that his son is probably going to become a future TNA wrestler. I think the best way to put him over is by his father. So I think that's positive. But again, as this builds up, no one's really going to care about it. No. So that's it.
But I hope you're right about that, though. At least let's hope it leads to something long term. We then have we then have a video segment with Jeff Hardy and his struggles again.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett comes out and talks about Hardy being, no showing at Turning Point 2006. Victory Road, basically a very against Jeff Hardy promo, and Jeff Jarrett is pretty decent at that kind of promo, isn't he?
He made good points. Again, there's Jeff Hardy fans up there. I'm not taking anything away, but Jeff Jarrett did say some good, strong points about why he doesn't want Jeff Hardy around.
Yeah, and there's another brawl, and it's just like, well, it's the same old shit. But then we get to the match itself, and Buddy Ray jumps Hardy from behind. It was a good way to start it. I just really wish they could just, I don't know. The match itself was good. 6 minutes, a good way to introduce Hardy to TV again, would you say?
You do expect good things from Buddy Ray and Jeff Hardy with their history and their different tactics of wrestling. So I think, again, this was effective for Jeff Hardy's return match and Buddy Ray trying to prove himself, his hatred over Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, so we have the combination of 2 feuds in this segment, as we have Jarrett attacking him after the match, advancing Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy to a Turning Point match. Please let this be one match, TNA, not a 6-month program. And then we have Mr. Anderson coming out and clearing the ring, which I'm guessing is hyping up more between Anderson and Buddy Ray after Bound for Glory.
So, again, like you said, it gave us Buddy Ray and Anderson. Again, I can't complain, I like that. Jeff Hardy versus Jeff Jarrett, okay, Dan said one match, I agree. But again, the way this rounded up that match, I liked it.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson coming out, yeah.
That as well, that was a good bonus.
That was all good, because we love a bit of Mr. Anderson here on the British Fist.
But sadly, that weren't the end.
No, of course no, it wasn't the end, because that's a segment. How can we end the show with a segment? Oh, TNA did end the show with a segment, but we'll get to the number one contendership match first. Samoa Joe versus Robert Roode. Number one contendership match for a title match on free TV next week. The match lasted 7 minutes. Didn't really get a chance to go anything more than a good match. Nice backstage interview with Bobby Roode hyping up the match. It just, why are they doing this on free TV next week? Every time I look at this match, that's all I can think about. Storm versus Roode on free TV, which could generate many, many pay-per-view buys, and they're doing it on free fucking TV.
That's very true. Again, Samoa Joe, I look at this match and think it could be a good match, but I don't really care about it because Samoa Joe doesn't deserve it. No. Roode should have won the pay-per-view, so this match, I don't really care. We knew who was going to win because they won, even though Bobby Roode did not win at the pay-per-view, TNA are still trying to continue the match between Storm and Roode.
Yeah, exactly. So Roode gets the win. We know he's the number one contendership match, and they're having a match on free TV next week. I can't accentuate that enough. It's stupid for business. Why are they doing it when they could have at least done it at a pay-per-view?
And the stupidness does not end there.
No, it doesn't.
Because the main event of TNA was Bischoff and his son.
You know, when you're a company, surely you want to showcase your top title in the main event. Surely, that's the way you do it. Or have a segment there with a storyline that is way more hotter than the title. And in my opinion, nothing in TNA is hotter than Storm versus Roode. And to have this as the main event was fucking stupid. We just switched off. It was just weird.
Because we knew the outcome. We knew that they were going to build up a match or some kind of feud between Bischoff and his son. Yeah. So basically, his son says no, and Flair beats on him. Yeah.
You know, and this is the problem with TNA. This is why we're criticising it. You had 2 segments, multiple backstage segments, for this that no one really cares about. Give that to your main event guys like James Storm and Bobby Roode. Did they get it? No!
So the best idea to up our grade, when we graded it back then, it would have been a good idea to have this segment where the segment was earlier in the night and had the main event, which was Samoa Joe versus Robbie Roode.
Because that ended with Storm and Roode staring down, which was good. So, should we... we'll give our overall thoughts in our overall thoughts section, I guess.
Yeah, let's.
SmackDown time. Let's go, NJ.
Yeah, let's.
To start off SmackDown with this week, after that match of Vengeance where the ring broke, we got a video package showing the ring breaking from Show and Henry at Vengeance. It's the main feud on SmackDown, so I'm glad we started with this video package. As it was, for many people, the talking point of the pay-per-view, it should be featured prominently on your show SmackDown, which is where the feud is being at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, the way this ended, it was a big, huge thing for SmackDown, so why not have this follow on to SmackDown?
Exactly. And then we got the opener. Teddy Long in the ring, doesn't get an entrance, but who cares? It's Teddy Long. Basically talks about the future of the WWE Championship being sorted tonight between Big Show and Mark Henry. That'll be addressed. And then Christian comes and interferes for some strange reason.
Mr. Complain comes out to complain once again.
He wants his one more match, of course. He says, there is a big gaping hole in the main event scene for Christian at the moment. But unfortunately, there isn't. I'm sorry, Christian.
Christian, the door's closed, and now you're going to progress on to Sheamus, who's Sheamus. The door for him's open.
Exactly. And then we get CM Punk coming out for some reason, coming out to Christian. Don't really know why he's coming out, but at least he kind of saved the segment, didn't he?
He did. It was the main thing that he comes out and he just gets in Christian's face. Thanks, Teddy Long, for letting him come on the show. So, yeah.
Yeah, basically, Teddy Long is talking about arranging Raw stars coming tonight and stuff, and he arranges... This is going to be a super SmackDown. I just thought this was a super show, but whatever. And we get Punk versus Christian announced later tonight after a bit of between the two. So effective in the sense that it may announce the main event, but a bit confusing because you've got Punk and Christian there, who are not really involved. But I guess when we got to the main event, we realised that it was to advance two storylines. So
which was the positive stuff out of the main event. Yeah. So we'll explain more about that later.
Yes, we will. Awesome Truth versus Air Boom. Two tag team names in one match. When was the last time we could say that, eh?
They keep flowing to and from names, but again, this is actually one that we were looking forward to.
Yeah, Awesome Truth versus Air Boom. We got this when did we get Hell in a Cell? We're getting it again on free TV. Awesome Truth basically win this match clean in 4.5 minutes. You know, with Miz and Truth, with Awesome Truth being as high as they are on the card at the moment, you kind of expect them to beat the tag team champions, although I would like to have seen the tag champs not get buried too much, but I guess in the long scheme of things, they're probably going to be involved in the 5-on-5. These guys are involved in the main event of the Survivor Series, so I guess I can understand Miz and Truth getting the win.
The importance of this match was, yes, to make them both look strong to future events, but again, Awesome Truth need to pick up the win because they're the future stars and they're the ones who's getting the main event for Survivor Series, so it made sense.
And they get on the mic again, they talk about, the Survivor Series match between them and The Rock and Cena, so that was some good stuff. Talk about winning and dominating. It
hypes up more, so again, more mic time you give to Awesome Truth, the better.
They are very good on the mic, and I think giving them mic time in every segment is a must. We then get a match between Wade Barrett and Trent Beretta. Wade Barrett, of course, continuing his rise, hopefully, to the main event scene. The Wade Barrett barrage continues as he squashes Trent Beretta in a match which I feel lasted a little bit longer than it should have. But at least this match makes Barrett look strong, and I kind of feel now that WWE have maybe something lined up for him, whether it's some Survivor Series match or 5-on-5 involvement or something.
Well, I've always said this. When Wade came onto SmackDown, the call was pointless. He should have continued getting pushed to give him push to the main event. And I'm hoping now with these wins he's been getting, it's going to lead to something positive for him.
Definitely. Them in the mid-card, because I don't really have too much to say about that segment other than that. In the mid-card, our main event, we had Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler, which was announced earlier on in the night. The US champion against Randy Orton, the number one contender, I'm guessing, to the IC belt. We had Cody Rhodes on commentary. They had, the match itself was good. 10.5 minutes. We kind of expected from these two good workers in the ring. Say what you want about Orton, he is still a decent worker when he needs to be. When he's going to win, when he's booked to win, he does work quite well in the ring.
Yeah, this match definitely shows the strength of Orton and Dolph Ziggler. Again, he's always wanted to get pinned, but he did show that there is still a strong side to him, which I thought was good.
Yeah, he didn't get booked too bad in this match. Better than I expected against Orton, anyway. You had Ted versus Rhodes on Superstars this week. Why?
Yeah, that was kind of hard to see because obviously that match is something we wanted to see before the whole Orton and Rhodes thing. The thing I did notice is that we've been really no DQ forms and that. there's big possibility that Booker T and Cody Rhodes are going to have an intercontinental feud after this whole Orton code.
It will be a short-term thing, but maybe interesting. And it seems like they were doing a little bit there on the commentary. It was nice to see Cody Rhodes come out on commentary, even though I don't think he has the best commentary voice. But at least this kind of did its job to sort of slightly spotlight this feud between Orton and Rhodes. I expected a little bit more from this segment, but I guess it was effective in the sense that we got a decent match, and it still helped carry on Orton versus Rhodes. I still wonder what they're going to be doing with Dolph Ziggler, even though it's obviously Mason Ryan, but can't ask for too much in these segments, I guess, can we?
No, it did it effective for the Orton code, that's all I'll say.
Yep. We then have an interview with the newly unmasked Hunico, talking about how he'd had his identity stolen. He wants payback on Sin Cara, so I guess this is going to hype up to another Sin Cara feud. He wasn't on SmackDown this week, so...
No, again, I think they should have finished it, but if they want to continue it, I'll see almost what they do next.
Yeah, and hopefully now that Hunico has a voice, they can actually introduce some story into this feud, which might be a nice thing to have.
Worth seeing.
Then we have a match which was announced earlier on the night between Tyson Kidd and Daniel Bryan. Basically, you've got Shawn Michaels, Mark #1, versus Bret Hart, Mark #1, in Tyson Kidd and Daniel Bryan. This match I was expecting to be a lot better than this, just because I know they're both great technical wrestlers, but it lasted 2.5 minutes.
That's true. It was a short match, but going into this match, I really thought, for some reason, they were going to make a horrible move for Daniel Bryan, have Tyson Kidd beat him.
But no. Daniel Bryan at least won the match, and you know what? After this fucking losing streak that he's had, I'm finally glad he's got the win, and I'm finally glad he's got a segment to himself, to, you know, a win and stuff, even though he doesn't carry around that briefcase anymore for some reason. But, you know, it was a good match for what it was. It just didn't last long enough, and I still feel they should be spotlighting Daniel Bryan a lot better than what they're doing at the moment as Money in the Bank winner.
Well, if the commentators are right, the losing streak is over, so hopefully next week we'll see wins by him, which will probably build up to something positive for him.
Yep. Hopefully we will see that, because he needs to be built up if he's going to be a believable champion, because at the moment he will not be a believable cash-in, but there we go. We then get a segment between Big Show and Mark Henry on the state of the World Heavyweight Championship after that fantastic match we saw at Vengeance.
Yeah, and Big Show basically says that he's had words with Theodore Long. He's going to get a rematch in the near future, which will probably be Survivor Series, and this brings out Mark Henry.
Yeah, they both sell their injuries pretty well, though, don't they? From the match, two big guys selling their injuries. It was pretty good. He talks about Show not getting a rematch, but we kind of know they're going to get one. He goes to fight Big Show, but can't get in the ring because of his bad back.
So he did follow on from a pay-per-view, so I give him thumbs up to that, and I just look forward to seeing what happens next.
Yeah, but should this have been the main event on SmackDown? I know it probably wasn't the best segment, but you got to highlight your own biggest title on your own show. I'm just saying.
It would be good, but this segment, there was just no strong positivity of it. It was short, and he got to the point too quickly, so for a main event, it wouldn't have done much justice, I don't think.
Alright then we have our actual main event. CM Punk versus Christian, in a match which was pretty much done to advance two storylines. We had 3 minutes into the match, we had Del Rio coming to ringside. You know, it's doing something there for Del Rio and CM Punk going into the Survivor Series. The match lasted 9.5 minutes. It was a good main event, and it advanced two storylines when Sheamus came out, I guess.
Again, for a SmackDown main event, you hyped up SmackDown, which was Christian and Sheamus. You hyped up Raw, which was Alberto and CM Punk, but...
Too much about Raw.
It looked like too much about Raw,
yeah.
And all I'm going to say now is, if you're going to combine these two, have them in a tag match.
Or highlight SmackDown feuds a bit more, because the SmackDown show is SmackDown, not Raw. Hype, and this is another problem with SmackDown tonight. We had too many fucking like Raw clips and stuff. It was all filler and it was annoying how much Raw stuff was on SmackDown when it should be focusing on the SmackDown stuff.
Well, as much as I agree with that, some of the matches got a good length. The main ones, I think, got good length. I think the filler was pretty pointless, but the matches got pretty good length. But yeah, good-ish main event.
Alright, that's SmackDown done. Should we move on to our overall thoughts, or have you got anything else to say about this show?
Again, I'm just hoping, now you've had this SmackDown, you've had the final from Vengeance, make next week better, please.
Sure thing. Okay then, let's go on to overall thoughts. So going into our overall thoughts, we ask this question every week, and I'll ask you this one first, MJ. Which show do you think was the best show of the week, and give me some reasons why?
For the first time in a few weeks now, it's been Raw that's actually dominated the shows for me, because we had the whole Triple H Nash thing continuing. We had Ziggler getting the tag match. So I think the follow-on from Vengeance was nicely done on Raw, basically.
And we have the announcement of Survivor Series main event, which
that was a big bonus
as well. We also, on Raw, I thought Raw was the best show of the week as well, just because they laid the groundwork for a lot of things that were probably going to be happening at Survivor Series. So that's what I thought was the best show. As for TNA and SmackDown, I thought SmackDown was probably the second best show, TNA the third best show. I didn't think SmackDown was overly great, but TNA wasn't as good as SmackDown.
No, SmackDown could have done better, but with TNA, all I can say, guys, is watch our next TNA review, because you'll find a lot more reason why we did not enjoy this week's TNA as well as next week's.
And I think the reason why TNA isn't getting so good at the moment is because we just don't see what TNA's direction is really going to be at the moment. The way they've done this whole Rude Storm thing is just really not working at the moment, is it? I mean, for us.
No, I'm finding it hard to enjoy TNA. I'm thinking their booking's going downhill rapidly and they're struggling to come back up.
Yeah. So Raw was the best show of the week?
Yes, it was.
Okay, then let's leave it there and tell people, get your comments on This Week in Wrestling in the comment section below. Any news, shows, anything like that, get it in that comment section below. And NJ, take us out from this Good and Bad of the Week podcast.
Thank you very much for listening to our podcast. We've covered Raw, SmackDown and TNA. Hopefully you've enjoyed our podcast. And that has been it from the British Fist, which is Mr. Parkins and NJ. And all I can say, people, is goodbye.